Hello, everyone. Welcome to our October Tree Leaf Zazenkai, which is celebrating Bodhidharma Day, which is actually kind of his memorial service because it's actually his day of leaving the world. But we Zen folks, birthdays, coming and going, leaving the world. In a sense, this is going to be actually our topic today during the talk. We kind of celebrate it all. So I'm not going to wish you a happy Bodhidharma Day, but let us celebrate and remember Bodhidharma Day and with joy and cheer. How's that? With joy and cheer. All right. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for old Bodhidharma. By the way, I've got our Bodhidharma here. Let me adjust him. I didn't have a chance. Making sure I don't knock our Bodhidharma. I'll fix that later. But there is Bodhidharma carrying his one shoe. Can you see the shoe there? Let me blow that up for a second. He's carrying his one shoe on his way back to, let me get, hi Bjorn, good to see you. Let me do this. Spotlight for everyone. There you go. There he is. He's carrying his shoe, which you can see in the, over there, there's his shoe. And we actually, like the other religion, have a resurrection story about Bodhidharma, which I'll touch on later, which has to do with that shoe. So just like the other fellows, Bodhidharma. Anyway, we'll get to that miracle a little later. In the meantime, let me get back to everybody here. And who is our Eno today? Good, Bjorn, we're in good hands. So if you've been here before, you know what to do. And if it's your first time, just follow along. Yes.
Okay, can I go?
Yeah, you can go. Do you see me? I'm over here.
No. No. Okay. Akahanya Shingyo Kanji Zaigo Satsugyojin Hanyara Mita Jisho Kengo Gai Doi Saigu Yagushari Shishiki Hui Gugu Fui Shiki Shiki Sokuze Gugu Sokuze Shiki Ju Sogyo Shiki Yakubu Nyoze Shari Shize Shohoku Sofu Shofu Metsu Fuku Fujofu Jofu Genje Goku Jumu Shiki Meju Sogyo Shiki Megen Nibize Shinimu Shiki Shoko Misoku Home Genkai Gai Shimei Shiki Kai Myo Yagu Myo Jinai Shi Muroshi Yagu Muroshi Jin Mugu Shumetsu Domu Chi Yagu Mudogu Imu Shoto Bodai Satae Hanyara Mida Koshimu Geige Mugeige Gomu Gugu Onri Saiden Domu Sho Kugyo Ne Hansan Sho Butsue Hanyara Mida Kodoku Anogu Darasan Myakusan Bodai Gochi Hanyara Mida Zedai Jinshu Zedai Myoshu Zemu Joshu Zemu Dodoshu Nojo Isaigu Shinjitsu Bugo Kosetsu Hanyara Mida Shusoku Setsu Shuwatsu Gyate Gyate Hara Gyate Hara So Gyate Goji Soga Hanya Shingyo. The identity of relative and absolute. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately conveyed west and east, while human faculties are both wise or dull in the way there are no northern nor southern ancestors. The subtle source shines clear in the light, the branching streams flow in the dark. To be attached to things is primordial illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightenment. All spheres, every sense and field, intermingle even as they shine alone, interacting even as they merge, yet keeping their places in expressions of their own. Sights differ primarily in shape and character, and sounds in harsh or soothing tones. The dark makes all words one, the brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their true nature as a child turns to its mother. Fire is hot, water is wet, wind moves and the earth is dense. Eye and form, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste the sweet and sour, each independent of the other, like leaves that come from the same root. And though leaves and root must go back to the source, both root and leaves have their own uses. Light is also darkness, but do not think of it as darkness. Darkness is light, do not see it as light. Light and darkness are not one, not two, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own being, which is not different from its place and function. The relative fits the absolute as a box in its lid. The absolute meets the relative, like two arrow points that touch in midair. Hearing this, simply perceive what is, make no criterion. If you do not see the way, you do not see it even as you walk upon it. Walking forward in the way, you draw no nearer, progress no farther. One who fails to see this truth is mountains and rivers away. Listen, those who would perceive this subtle matter, live well your time by night and day. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the heart of the perfection of Great Wisdom Sutra and the identity of relative and absolute, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Eihei Dogen, Honored One, Soji Keizan, Honored One, all successive Honored Ones up until Zuigaku Denpo, Honored One, and Gudo Wafu, Honored One, and to all other Honored Ones throughout history, same yet diverse Honored Ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace, and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May we all realize and live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Zazen? Kinhin. Zazen? We will have a long Kinhin. Right. We'll now have a little talk. And for this, you can sit Zazen, or you can drink some tea or relax. Anything except checking Facebook. Let me see. Do I have everything? Oh, I don't. Let's see. 1 second. That'll do it. I'm down here next to Bodhidharma's foot. Let me move over a second here. I'm down here. All right, Bodhidharma is the main guest today, so I'll just talk down here. I'm going to kind of switch back between everybody. Beyond, shall we open the sutras?
Yes. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Well, hello everyone. I'm down here at the foot of Bodhidharma's robe. Today is our Bodhidharma memorial, I'm going to say celebration. And we're also going to speak about Master Dogen's Genjokoan again. Now, last week, I think, or the week before, I said that, sitting Zazen to relax or just have some peace in life, that's excellent, and I support that. But I'm kind of old school, and I believe that our Zen practice is about, clearing up a few things, like, what is this whole death thing? And what are we in the universe? The questions like that. And that's exactly what I plan to do for you today. By the end of this talk, you'll be all clear on this whole birth and death thing. And good you came in, Ms. Moore, just to see you. Because by the end of this talk, you'll know all about this. It'll be all clear, this whole life and death thing and what you are in the universe. And it's a shame that more people from our Sangha are not here today, because they're going to miss out. And they're not going to know the resolution of life and death and who they are in the universe, unless they listen to this later. So good for you all. I'm only half joking, by the way. Okay. First off, we're going to look again at our little Bodhidharma statue that is up there. I will switch over there just so you can see. It is Bodhidharma's Memorial Day. This was the day, I guess, many centuries ago. I have not counted exactly how many centuries. Let's see, 13, 14 centuries ago. Was that it? No more. Anyway, when he is said to have left this visible world, some say he was assassinated. Some say he was assassinated by other Buddhist priests who were jealous of Bodhidharma. It's a funny thing, but in some of those early stories, we have stories of assassination from jealous monks. Now, I don't know if that's true, but certainly we can all know that Bodhidharma was a human being, and he lived and he died, because that is what people do. And we can say, of course, in our hearts, he's still with us. So that is true. That is true. But the physical incarnation, the flesh and bones of Bodhidharma, they kick the bucket, and as all people do. And there's a legend that surrounds that, and that statue represents that legend. Now, we actually don't know a lot about the historical Bodhidharma. Kind of like the Buddha, most of the stories, the famous stories about Bodhidharma, the meeting with the emperor, the sitting in the cave for 9 years, those were probably later, I don't want to say embellishments. They could have a basis in truth. We're not sure, but it doesn't matter. They've become the profound stories that we cherish. And one of those stories that is cherished by some is represented in that statue. You see, when Bodhidharma died, they put him in his grave with his shoes, all, dressed properly. They gave him a proper burial. And then, I don't know what it was, a few days later, or maybe a little more, they went back to the grave and for some reason opened it up, and, bump, he's not there. Well, there is one shoe there. Remind you of that story from the other religion? Where did Bodhi go? Now, there's a report, not verified by many sources, but there is a report that he was seen on the road back to India carrying his other shoe. And that is what is depicted in the statue, which leads me to a couple of questions. Isn't it a long walk without shoes? Why is he only carrying one shoe? I have another question related to that, and I don't know if anyone agrees with me, raise a hand. I've had this happen again this week. You're driving your car down the road, you look at the side of the road, and somebody left one shoe. Has anybody else seen this, or is it just me? And it's always one shoe. Where's the other shoe? Okay, anyway, that's a side story. But anyway, Bodhidharma, for some reason, leaves one of his shoes in the grave, walks all the way back to India carrying the other shoe. Is it true? Of course not. Well, I don't think it is. Okay. How about the story in the other religion? No comment. I'm not part of the other religion. But I'm going to tell you there is truth there. There is truth there. Why? I used to think that these are just silly stories that people need to have some miracle to believe in. It's not so simple. I believe it's a way to teach the most profound of profound truths about, shall we say, transcending life and death in a simple way that people can understand who might not be so comfortable with the, shall we say, finer points that I want to explain to you in the rest of today's talk. It's a little bit like when our cat died and my daughter asked me, where did Tinky go? Tinky got hit by a car. By the way, we always keep the cats in the house. Tinky, that amazing cat, knew how to open every window. I'm telling you, the cat knew how to unlock locks on the windows. With his paw, he would pull the lock down, he'd slide the window, slide the screen, and I'd find the window unlocked the next morning. I think he came back in sometimes, closed the window, and relocked it. I'm telling you, that was an amazing cat. But anyway, one day, Tinky got hit by a car that's just what happened. We wished he was still with us. And so my daughter asked, where did Tinky go? And I, did the Tinky's at the cat farm upstate. You know, I went. Tinky's Tinky went to heaven, cat heaven, and is playing with the other cats. Our daughter was about 6 at the time. Do I literally think that Tinky's in cat heaven playing with the other cats? Could be, maybe. It's a lovely thought, but I'll tell you this. There's an essence of peace and wholeness beyond birth and death, more than meets the eye. And I trust this and know this, and I believe that's what we try to convey in images like heaven, or even this Bodhidharma stepped out of the grave and went back home. It's our true home. And my job today, this is what I get, this is why I get the big bucks, is to try to introduce you to this other way of seeing birth and death and all things and who you are in the universe, where this story, actually, when you look at it, him going home, I'm still not sure what the shoe has to do with it, but him going home is you going home to this true home. And actually, there's some truth in it with a big T. Okay? With that said, let's dive into Master Dogen. We covered, I'm actually going to repeat a few lines. Let me have my little coffee here, if I may. I'm going to repeat a few lines that we covered last month, because it continues and flows in together. And I used to think that these two sections maybe were that we're going to read today, these two sections are a little disconnected. But I actually, sitting with them more and more over the years, I realized that he's saying one thing. And I will cut to the chase to tell you where I'm going. That everything and everybody and every moment that happens is everything else in the whole thing. That's the topic you've probably heard me talk about 10,000 times if you've been coming to these Zazenkai. But this is a beautiful, beautiful representation of it. I told you that the Genjokoan, I feel, is Dogen writing this letter to his lay father, Mr. Yo of Kyushu, who either maybe he was sick and contemplating death, or he suffered a loss of a child, something like that. You feel it in these words. This is about death. Very interesting that when Dogen is advising about death here, he doesn't tell the obvious story. He doesn't talk about Bodhidharma's miracle going back home. He doesn't talk about literal rebirth here in this letter. He talks about what we're going to discuss today, which is something like, when death happens, man, it's the whole thing. Let it happen, dive right in. Which is kind of a beautiful, beautiful response, but is not the traditional Buddhist response that you would tell someone that, oh, your loved one is now in the bardo and will be reborn and is in the Pure Land and is sitting at the foot of Buddha, like I'm sitting at the foot of Bodhidharma here. Let me, by the way, go back to everybody. You've seen Bodhidharma and me enough. There we are. There's everybody. Hi, everyone. Give a wave. There you are. Everyone who's seen one shoe by the side of the road, wave your... Yeah, it's just this weird thing. Where's the other shoe? Anyway. So he's writing this letter, and he doesn't talk about the bardo. He doesn't talk about, in 49 days, your child will be reborn, nothing like that. Does that mean that Dogen did not believe in that? Some people want to say that some of the words here mean that Dogen did not believe in the traditional view of rebirth. I'm not so sure. Perhaps Dogen changed his views as he got older and sicker and closer to death. Perhaps he knew the audience he was speaking with. If he was speaking with, shall we say, people who needed a more understandable version, he would give, the cat has gone to cat heaven talk. some other writings of Dogen, he seems very traditional and very liberal, very literal. He speaks about the bardo. He speaks about being reborn in the traditional way. But for some reason in this letter, doesn't mention it. And it's about death, which is interesting to me. Here he presents a view of, I'm going to sum it up, death is the whole thing. Birth is the whole thing. Life is the whole thing. You are the whole thing. Everything is the whole thing. And because everything is the whole thing, and everything else is the whole thing, everything is everything else. This is where I say, dig it, man. Give me a snapping fingers. Dig it. Okay. Now he's talking about time here and birth and death, and he uses the example of firewood, which burns and turns to ash, right? Firewood comes before, there's a fire, it burns to ash. In other words, there's a person here, gets hit by a bus, kaput, turns to ash, right? That's what he's talking about here. You should understand that firewood abides in the phenomenal expression and wholeness of firewood, which fully includes its own past and future, yet is independent of all past and future. What happens in this moment, from that pivot point, you judge all past and future. Yet what happens in this moment is the whole thing, so is somehow timeless. In my book, I use the example of a dance. When a dancer takes this leap or this spin on her toe, it includes everything that came before in the dance, right at the tip of her toe. And everything that's going to come in the future of the dance is right there in this jump, this leap, right? It's all there. But yet, in that moment, the leap is the whole thing. There is no before and after, just the leap. Kind of got that? So let's say you're seeing a 2-hour production of Swan Lake, right? And there's just scene 3, there's a jump. Well, the jump includes everything in scene 1 and scene 4, or act 4. So that leap has its own past and its own future, but yet in that moment, there's just scene 2, this jump, which is the whole thing and timeless. Well, this is Dogen's view of your life and everything, you see. Right now, you each, Einstein said the same, you each are in your own being time, which for you includes all the past, all the future and everything, and yet is just this moment. Now, when ash comes, death, ash abides in the phenomenal expression and wholeness of ash, which fully includes its own past and future too. Now, just as firewood does not turn to firewood again after it is ash, do not think of returning to birth after death. This is the line that people say, oh, Dogen did not believe in rebirth. I think he did. He was a man of his times, a Buddhist, traditional. But I think he's saying something else here. When firewood happens, man, it's just firewood. When ash happens, it's just ash. When it's Tuesday, well, Tuesday includes the Monday that came before and the Friday that's going to come. But yet, don't think about Monday and Friday. It's just Tuesday. When it's life, man, it's the time of life, which includes everything before and everything after. And when it's death, it's the time of death, which includes everything before and everything after. But yet, in the time of life, live. But also when it's the time of death, die or die trying, I like to say. Live as if your life depended on it. Live well. That doesn't mean like, carpe diem, let's go out and drink champagne and race, that's not Dogen. Live well in the time of life, and in the time of death, when it comes, look back and say kind of, well done, sayonara. That's Dogen. Thus, it is an established rule in Buddhist teachings to deny that birth turns into death. Very weird statement, because Buddhism is a lot about birth turning into death, turning into birth again. But yet he says Buddhist teachings deny that birth turns into death. Therefore, birth is understood as no birth, for in the time of birth there is no other moment with which to compare it. Waves on the ocean seem to rise, waves on the ocean seem to fall. When we realize it's all the ocean, there was nothing coming or going. And yet when the wave has risen, man, it's the time of just the wave. And when the wave has fallen, it is the time of just the falling. Although nothing is coming and going, just in that moment there is what is. Even sometimes the things I say, I got to play that back later to see what I just said. But I think I got it. I think I got it. In the time of birth, it's no birth, because that's the only thing. It's just the ocean. In the time of death, there's no death, because it's the only thing, and it's just the ocean. So while to our ignorant human eyes it looks like things are coming and going, there's just this moment, and this moment, and this moment, which is the only moment, which is just the wholeness, the ocean. Therefore, it's the established rule in Buddhist teachings to deny that birth turns into death. Therefore, birth is understood as no birth, for in the time of birth there is no other moment with which to compare it. It is an unshakable teaching in Buddhist preaching that death does not turn into birth. Therefore, death is understood as no death when there is no other moment with which to compare it. When there's death, there's only death because it's the whole universe. You can't have anything else outside the universe. And so death is the only thing, which is the whole thing. When there's life, it's the whole universe living, and there's nothing else, nothing more to compare, because it's the whole universe, the whole thing. So it's always the whole thing, the one thing. And that's great. That's beautiful. We think that this step in the dance leads to the next step in the dance. For example, I'm a dancer, I'm doing my twirl. 2 minutes later, I'm doing my leap. We think the twirl, step, 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 went to the leap. This is our usual way of seeing time. Dogen's way of seeing time is a little different. Get this, it's very important. When there's this leap, that's the only thing there is, and it's the whole dance. Don't think about what's coming 5 minutes ago. Don't think about what was an act before. This leap, this step, is the entire production of Swan Lake on the tip of the dancer's toe. And it's all there. It's the whole thing. So what's lacking? What's going to change? And okay, now 5 minutes later, there's a jump. Now that jump is on the same stage. It's the same stage come to life. It is also all of Swan Lake now in that jump. It's the whole thing in the jump. Therefore, nothing has changed. Same stage, same production. Now become a jump. But you think the leap, step, time, became a jump. No. The whole dance was the whole dance, was the whole dance, was the whole dance. Nothing has come and gone, and yet everything is dancing. Does that convey a little bit of what this is? Even if you're completely confused now, would you just please nod to make me feel good? I'm just kidding. Okay, so I put up Georges Seurat's painting. I believe it's called Sunday in the Jardin Jaff, which leads to another great mystery besides the one shoe by the side of the road. Why do the French just put all those extra letters in and then they don't say them? I have no idea. They always got like a consonant at the end, and then they just ignore it. So Jardin Jaff, I believe is how it's pronounced. I don't know. Bjorn, you're kind of the closest one here right now to France. You have no idea. Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's a pointillism. Okay, it's pictures of a people in a park, and if you get close, everyone know the painting. Raise your hand if you know the painting. A pointillist painting. She just put dot 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 dot, right? And when you get really close, you see it's just dots, right? And then you get back and you say, oh, it's a little girl's shoe. And then you get back further and you say, oh, the little girl's shoe, which is just made of dots, is this whole painting of a picture of people in a park, and which is kind of like our universe, all reality. Now, if I tell you, oh, the girl's shoe is part of the painting. Oh, I get that. Yes, the painting is made of parts. And the girl's shoe is made of dots of paint. Yes, I get that. Each stroke, each dot together makes the shoe. The shoe makes the painting. So I guess that each dot is part of the shoe, and the shoe is part of the painting. And I say, now, but here's the Buddhist first step on the Buddhist understanding. You know that the dots are in the shoe and the shoe is in the painting, but please understand, the entire painting is in the shoe. The entire painting and the shoe is in each dot. Huh? Now that, confuses people for some reason. Why? Why you only look at it one way? And the Buddhists realize you can look at it both ways. You feel that you are one thing in the universe. And I'm here to tell you, Preacher Jundo is here to tell you that the entire universe is in you. Hallelujah. Is you. Not in you. Is you. Is you. The entire painting is coming to life in every scene, every character in the painting, every dot, every molecule in the dot contains the entire scene. The entire dance of Swan Lake is in every gesture, movement, leap, twirl, even the stumbles and falls of every dancer contains the entirety. This is how we look at who we are in the universe too. Which is pretty good. So next time you feel that you're just an inconsequential dot in the whole, realize that if even that one little dot was missing, the restorers would have to come and put it back because there would be a big hole in Georges Seurat's painting. That's who you are. And not only don't feel inconsequential as just this one dot, you're not only a dot in the whole, in this whole galaxy of galaxies, of trillions and trillions of galaxies we call the universe. You're the whole thing. But don't let it go to your head, because so is everything else. But you are the whole thing. Without that single dot, there'd be a big hole in Georges Seurat's painting, like as if someone took a cigarette and made a hole right in it. You'd have to come back and something would be missing. And the shoe, now people think, oh, it just means we're all independent. You can see that if you have all the dots in the shoe together, they all need to work together and support each other to make a shoe. So people think, oh, it's just all about interconnection. this dot and the other dot and the other dot and the other dot and the other dot. And when we step back, we see all the dots supporting and contributing to each other make the shoe. And the shoe and the tree and the man over there and the grass makes the entire park. So you can see the grass needs the tree needs the character person to make a universe. This dot needs the other dot, needs this dot to support each other to make a shoe. So we feel, oh, this is what Buddhism is talking about. We're all just interconnected and supporting each other. And that's true. True. Don't get me wrong. That's true. But it's saying more than that. It's saying you're not all working together to make the shoe. You are the shoe. That one that Bodhidharma's carrying. I made a connection. The shoe of the little girl and the shoe that Bodhidharma's carrying. And by the way, the rubber boot by the side of the road here I passed yesterday. Yes, it's all the whole thing. And the shoes on your feet. You're not just dots and dots and dots making the shoe. You are the shoe coming to life in every single dot. And the whole painting coming to life in every single dot. Now, to convey that, Dogen has another beautiful and famous scene here of the moon in the water. The moon represents the wholeness, shall we say, the wholeness, the clarity, the light. And then he brings the light down to shine in every damn thing on the planet Earth, which was Dogen's world. I'm sure we can include all the other planets here too. It's not, this is truly a universal vision. Our enlightenment is like the moon reflected in the water. The moon does not get wet. The water is not broken, right? When, let's say there's a dot of dew on the end of a piece of grass and the moon is fully reflected in that piece of dew. You can see the whole moon in the tiny drop of dew on the end of a blade of grass. But yet the moon is untouched by that. It's not damaged. It doesn't lose anything. And the dew is not losing anything by having the moon within it. That's what he's saying. The moon is the wholeness of it all, you see, which is contained in every little drop of paint, every little twirl of the dancer, every drop of blood in you, like that. Our enlightenment is like the moon reflected in the water. The moon does not get wet, the water is not broken. Although the light shines wide and vast, covering everything, the moon is reflected in a puddle a foot or an inch wide. When the puddle is an inch wide, the moon is an inch wide. When the puddle is a foot wide, the moon's a foot wide. When it fills a lake, it is as vast as the lake, the ocean, on and on and on and on. You see, big and small is not of concern to the moon. The moon is fully contained and embodied in and as everything. The entire moon and the whole sky are reflected in countless dewdrops upon the grass, and even in a single drop of water. And this is you. This is you, too. Enlightenment does not divide a person, just as the moon does not shatter the water. We cannot obstruct enlightenment. The wholeness is always just whole. Though it never becomes less whole from anything I'm saying. From you being born or dying, it's still the whole. It's still the whole dance. The dance of Swan Lake is never obstructed by anything that's happening on the stage. As a matter of fact, it's all brought to life as everything that's happening on the stage, including when things go wrong, including when the dancer trips and falls or stumbles. It's all the wholeness of the dance, you see. We cannot obstruct enlightenment, just as a drop of water does not obstruct the moon in the sky. The depth of each drop is the measure of the height of the moon. No matter how long or short the duration of each reflection or the duration of each life, it expresses the largeness or smallness of the dewdrop. Our lives are as fragile as dewdrops, yes, lasting for a time, then yet completely holds the boundlessness of the moonlight in the heavens. So you got to stop thinking that you're only a small little inconsequential thing, person, drop of dew, here for a time amongst the billions and trillions of years. You are the billions and trillions of years. And you are the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm not going to save you and say that you're actually going to live for trillions of years. I actually think that would be kind of boring. My joke is, how many season reruns of Star Trek could I watch in a billion years? Boy, I would really know every line. But anyway, you know, life, I'm kind of glad that life is kind of finite. I've spoken to some, I used to volunteer in a hospice, and I spoke to actually some elderly people there. The wisest, more than one person said this to me, and they said, it's been enough. It's good. I'm ready to go. Can you imagine? What a great thing. Okay, enough. I had all the ice cream I could eat. I watched all the, you know, I Love Lucy reruns, whatever it was, you know, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see the cat, whatever it is. They were all ready to go. That's the way I want to. I want to lie on my bed and go, okay, that was nice. Well done. And sayonara. Dive in as if your death depended upon, which is what Dogen's talking about here. It is now the time of death. Let it come. Now, you're young. Everyone I'm looking at here is pretty young there. I mean, all of you. Yeah. So may this not happen soon. I'm not wishing it upon you. But when it comes, you know, or it comes to someone in your life, that's why I said we're celebrating Bodhidharma's passing today, you see. Let's welcome it with joy. Well done. Well done, Bodhi man. Good job. So now just a little footnote before we end here today. My one criticism about Dogen here is he gives some stagnant images, relatively stagnant. So, for example, he said, you know, the firewood turns to ash. And those are kind of fixed things. And then he talks about the moon reflected in the water. It's kind of like a painting. Or I talked about Seurat's Jardin de Jaf. And I said it's a painting's a fixed thing. I like my dancing image more. Why? It's alive and vibrant and ongoing. It's not fixed at all. This dot, man, is always changing. The dance is never, you cannot nail it down. The tip of the toe was here and it's gone, man. It's on to the next thing. If you look at the dewdrops on the water, the lake is always swirling. The ocean is always rolling. The dewdrop is always changing. Our lives are always in motion, and this motion, this whole dance is the thing, not the fixed painting. So what I said about the painting is true. The dot is the shoe, is the garden. But the garden is alive with people. You've been to gardens and parks oh, by the way, what a beautiful fall day today after this hot summer. The sky is literally without a cloud. It is, I got to get the bicycle, man. It is such a beautiful day here. Okay? This is a day like that. But tomorrow, rainy or snow, whatever it is, also will be the whole thing, right? It's all the planet Earth on the rainy day. It's all the planet Earth on the sunny day. It's all the planet Earth when the earthquake comes. Whatever it is, man, it's the whole thing. So this is the vibrant image that Dogen is trying to project here. I went to an art museum in Tokyo just earlier this year, and they had taken AI and they took, I think this was one of the paintings they did this to, they took these classic Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings and they brought them to life. Suddenly the characters in the painting, like Van Gogh's portrait, and Van Gogh kind of steps over and waves at you and gives you a wink. It was weird. All right, well done, but it was a little weird. The paintings were brought to life. And suddenly the people in the garden are kind of moving around, and the child is kind of playing with her ball, not just frozen in the painting. So I want to say everything I told you is true, but please remember, these are not stagnant images. The whole dance, play, rolling is this truth of everything is everything else. So, and death is that too. Death is the whole thing. Life is the whole thing. This moment is the whole thing. All right. And that's the whole thing in my talk. Well, one footnote, because we're going to dance in a second. Another expression of Bodhidharma, we're going to dance the Bodhidharma dance. You know, every month we do a little dance, kind of stretch our legs here. And I found there in Japan, there's a Bodhidharma dance. Great. It's very much like the hokey pokey. So if you don't know what to do, just hokey pokey for this Bodhidharma dance. It works fine. The Bodhidharma dance is about the other Bodhidharma statue. I put up incarnations, very popular here in Japan. It's the little round, looks like a little round ball with a face on it. That's Bodhidharma. People use it here as kind of a good luck charm. When you're going to start a project, you paint in one eye of the doll, and when the project comes to success, you put in the second eye. What does this doll have to do with Bodhidharma? Well, supposedly he was a sign of determination. You know, he sat for 9 years. I don't believe he taught kung fu, by the way. By the way, how could he teach if he's sitting for 9 years? What did he get up? He went, oh, it's Tuesday. I got to get down to the temple. Taught them like a karate lesson. Went back to the cave. I never got that. You know, Tuesdays I teach karate. The rest of the time I'm sitting in the cave. Never. But anyway, he did not teach kung fu, I don't think. But I don't even know if he sat in the cave like that for 9 years. But they say he sat so long that his legs disappeared. Right? He sat with such diligence. Some people say he cut his eyes off, which I think is his eyebrows, which I just think is a terrible image. Other people say they fell off. And by the way, they became tea leaves, which I think is just because, you know, if you're going to sit that long, you need the tea to keep you awake. That's how your eyes stay open. I think there's some connection there. But, and it became this doll image that has no legs, and the eyes are just, you know, wide open. And when you have a project, you have that kind of stick-to-itness of Bodhidharma. You put the eye, and then when it's successful, you put the other eye. And then it says, there's a wonderful Japanese saying that about this statue, which is kind of like, you know that old children's toy, you roll it and it rolls back up again? You roll it, it rolls back up again. That Bodhidharma falls down 7 times in life. We all fall down, man. Time after time, we trip and fall. Bodhidharma falls down 7 times, but he gets up 8. Got it? Anyway, that's what our song is about today. It's the Bodhidharma rolls and falls and gets up song. Okay? With that in mind, Bjorn, shall we close the sutra and have a short zazen?
May the merits of these teachings penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together may realize the Buddha's way. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Okay, we will have I often say this is a super short Zazen right now. Why? Remember, even the tiniest dewdrop contains the whole moon. It is never a matter of long or short, big or small. And that includes when we sit Zazen. This is a reminder of that. So this Zazen that we're going to do now includes the trillions and trillions of years. Thank you. That was lovely. All right, it is now time. Beyond, we all sit up here. The music for both videos is the same, so it doesn't matter what you play. But if you don't know what to do, just the hokey pokey is close enough. Mokusho, good to see you. Zazen! we will have a long Kinhin. You guys still sitting? You hear me? There you go. There you go. Okay. You can have some tea or something if you want to. It's fine. Just leave your eyelids alone. Okay. There you go. We will now recite the Metta verses, followed by a little Zazen. Also in an auspicious moment, about to open a new bundle of incense. We've gone through the last bundle. Let's see. Very lovely. Lovely, lovely. I'll leave this here for now. Very good. All right. Well, I thought for Metta today, since it's Bodhidharma's celebration, and we're always on the kind of receiving end from the Buddha and all the ancestors. How about we wish Metta to the Buddha and some of the Buddhist greats, giving back, giving it back. Now you might say, hey, wait a second, Buddha doesn't need Metta, right? But first off, why not? You can give Metta to someone who a gift is given not to because there's a particular need, but from the heart, right? So we're going to offer Metta to the Buddha, Bodhidharma, some of the other Buddhist greats, right? And we usually offer, by the way, if you're facing the wall, turn this way for this one. Turn this way for this one. Let's see. This is a family occasion. Yeah, there you are. There you are. If for next time, if you don't know the Metta chant, it's on it's in our chant book on the tree leaf in the tree leaf thread. But you can follow along with me and just recite it in your heart. We usually recite first for ourselves, and then we recite for a dear loved one, a friend, a stranger, then a hard, difficult person, and then all sentient beings. And we'll kind of do that today. It's not going to be really that different. Let's start off with ourselves. And you might say, wait a second, I thought we were reciting to all the Buddhas and ancestors. Didn't you listen to my talk? You are the Buddhas and ancestors. Okay? As you. So let's first recite Metta for ourselves. Nothing wrong with that. May I be free of suffering. Really feel this in your heart. May I feel safe. Feeling safe. And still. Yep, got that. May I be free of enmity. Enmity is a fancy word for feeling angry and hateful. May I be loving. Never too much of that. Maybe there's too much. I don't know. Anyway, that's beside the point. May I feel loving, grateful, even for the stuff we can't be grateful for. It's hard to be grateful for, but grateful and kind. May I be healthy. Okay, but because that's not always the case. May I be healthy and at ease in all my ills. May I be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay, next we're going to recite Metta for the Buddha, which, as I said, you would think he doesn't need it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Can't. What's the harm? What's the harm? Right? Yeah. And also I'm going to refer to him as they. I started calling the Buddha she for a while. They, it's a guy in India. Yeah. But this is not a political statement. Buddha is everyone, everything. Okay. So I'm going to use the they. It's not a particularly political statement, but it is to mean that Buddha is you, him, her, and the blades of grass. Okay. Like that. May they be free of suffering. May they feel safe and still. May they be free of enmity, which I gather is not a problem for the Buddha, but we'll say it anyway. May they be loving, grateful, and kind. May they be healthy. Doesn't matter he's dead, by the way. He's still, it's not a time thing. They are present. And even the Buddha got sick, according to the old stories, and at ease in all their ills. May they be at peace. I think he's got that, he's got that worked out. Embracing all conditions of life. Okay. Very good, very good. Let's say, hey, it's Bodhidharma. It's the Bodhidharma's Bodhidharma Day. So, or as we say, just Bodhi Day, Bodhidharma Day. Shall we now recite wishing the same for Bodhidharma? Let's include a wish that he finds his other shoe in there. Okay. Bodhidharma, may you be free of suffering. May you feel safe and still. I've seen some of your pictures. You look pretty grumpy there. May you be free of enmity. May you be loving, grateful, and kind. May you be healthy. May you be forgiving of all the people apparently who are out to get you, according to the old stories. May you be healthy and at ease in all your ills. May you be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. And for those of you who don't know what a Bodhidharma portrait look like, imagine, it looks kind of like Mokyo there. Kind of, there's a resemblance, I noticed, but with just a beard, put a beard on there. Hello, Mokyo, how you doing? Give me a wave. Hello? Moksho, can you hear me? Oh, yes, woke you up there. Woke you up. He was in deep samadhi, Moksho. Sorry to disturb you. Get back into it. Okay, now let's see. Who else? How about one of those bodhisattvas? Let's Kinhin. Let's wish Kinhin Metta. May I'll use they again. May they be free of suffering. May they feel safe and still. Always trying to help us with their 1,000 hands. Let's give a hand back. Lend a hand back there. May they be free of enmity. Probably not a problem for Kinhin. May they be loving, grateful, and kind. May they be healthy and in ease in all their ills. You know, like if they ever get a paper cut on one of those 1,000 hands, I suppose, something like that. May they be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Giving back, saying thank you, Kinhin. How about one of the more obscure bodhisattvas or characters, like in the Lotus Sutra? All these people are listed like extras in the movie, and like in Star Wars, the people in the bar scene in the back, you don't know who they are, and they're mentioned like one time, you never hear from them again, like illuminated space bodhisattva, okay, whoever that is. So let's someone in the Lotus Sutra. Let's say the 10,000 bodhisattvas who popped out of the ground in one scene. Let's pick of them. One of the bodhisattvas there, let's wish them metta. May they be free of suffering. May they feel safe and still. May they be free of enmity. May they be loving, grateful, and kind. May they be healthy after popping out of the ground, safe landings, and at ease in all their ills. May they be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay? Now, what are we going to do for the bad guy? I was thinking about this. Devadatta. Who knows who Devadatta is? Raise your hand if you ever heard of Devadatta. Devadatta is, oh yeah, very good, Onkai. She's been studying our history books, so she knows who Devadatta is. Devadatta is the great troublemaker in the old Buddhist suttas who always was, he actually got in trouble and finally got kicked out of the Sangha. I believe he was the Buddha's cousin, and he threw a rock at the Buddha, which you're not supposed to do, caused the Buddha to cut his toe with threw a rock at the Buddha's toe or something. And he also tried to be holier than thou with the Buddha to take over the Sangha. For example, the Buddha said, you can eat meat sometimes. And Devadatta said, we should be vegetarians, strict vegetarians. And then the Buddha said, well, you know, sleep in a simple place. And Devadatta said, no, we must sleep under trees, only trees. And finally, Devadatta said, the Buddha said, hey, Devadatta, go take it down the road. You make your own Sangha. I don't make political jokes in this very often, but he was the Matt Gaetz to the Republican Party of the Buddhist Sangha. You know, he was more there, okay? And the Buddha was, you know, like the Speaker of the House, and he tried to kick the guy out. I'm not making this is not a political joke, but I hope you get it. He tried to be more Buddha-ish than the Buddha, and finally the Buddha just kicked him out. The guy's throwing rocks at him after all. So let's chant for Devadatta. Devadatta. The devilish guy, Devadatta. May Devadatta be free of suffering. May Devadatta feel safe and still. May he be free of enmity. Stop throwing rocks at folks. May he be loving, grateful, and kind. May he be healthy and at ease in all his ills. May he be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Go in peace, Devadatta. All right, and now we're going to chant again for all sentient beings, including Kinhin, the Buddha, Devadatta, all of us, which is, you might say, when we chanted for the Buddha, we already did this, but you can't do it too much, right? For all sentient beings, everywhere. May we be free of suffering. May we feel safe and still. May we be free of enmity. May we be loving, grateful, and kind. May we be healthy and at ease in all our ills. May we be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Very lovely. Well, with the few minutes we have remaining, we're going to have just sit where you are for as long as we sit Zazen. So just make yourself comfortable and I'll ring the bell. Moksho, back into your samadhi, please. Thank you. We will now recite the verse of atonement and the 4 vows.
All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by masons of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable.
Well, lovely, lovely. If I didn't make myself clear, this is a living, vibrant dance. This is not a dead thing, this great dance that's going on, that is life and death, or little life and death, but there's something great and I think kind of smart and wonderful and musical going on. And you're one of the dancers, so what I wish you this week is dance it well. Dance it well, okay? Try not to trip so much. And if anybody sees one shoe by the side of the road, please post about it in the forum. Okay? Love you all. Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moksho, good to see you. See the rest of you. Mark, see you later. Thank you, V. Daimon.